Good morning. It's Monday, November the 1st, All Saints' Day. Today we continue reading in Matthew 17, verses 24 through 27. When they came to Capernaum, the collectors of the 2 drachma tax went up to Peter and said, "Does your teacher not pay the tax?" He said, "Yes." And when he came into the house, Jesus spoke to him first, saying, "What do you think, Simon? From whom do kings of the earth take toll or tax? From their sons or from others?" And when he said, "From others," Jesus said to him, "Well, then sons are free. But not to give offense to them, go to the sea and cast a hook, and take the first fish that comes up, and when you open its mouth, you'll find a shekel. Take that and give it to them for me and for you." So the temple tax, there's this 2 drachma tax, which is not very much money. It goes back to Exodus 30. And in Exodus 30, they'd collected a tax to pay for the tabernacle and its furnishings and stuff. And they just did it once. Everybody over of age, over 18 or something, had to pay it. So what's happened in the New Testament time is that they've revived that ancient one-time temple tax because Herod needs money to pay for all of his improvements. And he's been improving the temple for 40 years. And he's been building all kinds of other buildings. And these were really good buildings. Herod, for all of his faults, Herod is a good planner and did a lot of good improvements to the city and the surrounding communities. Infrastructure stuff, And so they've been renovating the temple for, like I said, 40 years, and they needed the money. And so they had found this old thing in the law, and they said, we could do that. And so it wasn't much, but everybody had to pay it. Jesus, of course, says, well, who pays it, the strangers or the sons of the king? In essence, he's saying, I don't have to pay this. But, let's not make waves. Let's not insult the traditionalists. Go out there and cast a hook into the sea and pull up a fish, and that fish will have a shekel in its mouth, and you can pay the tax for you and for me with that shekel, and everybody will be happy. Let's not make waves. Let's not reinforce the notion that Galileans are somehow suspect Gentile sympathizers, and let's not make anybody mad. Let's just do this. Don't throw your net, just throw a hook. And so Peter does all of this, and that's how it works out. So what we see here is Jesus is kind of omniscient. He knows what's happened. He knows what Peter said. He knows what the discussion was. He knows all that stuff. And then he knows what needs to be done. He's a little like Paul. Paul says, I'm all things to all people. And to the Corinthians, he says, hey, tighten it up, obey the rules. And to the Galatians, he says, loosen up. You don't need to obey every rule in the book. So he changes his message according to the audience. He doesn't change it irresponsibly or change the core of it. He just changes the way it's presented. Jesus is much the same way. Jesus says, well, if they want us to pay that, we'll pay that. Let's not make a big deal about something that unimportant. I think we could remember that for our lives when we get involved in, are we to do this or that thing? And, the issues of, how about the color of the paraments in worship? We used to go in sometimes and find them still be green, but they should have been white. And as I used to quote Wesley Baker and say, white is always appropriate. So we'll wear white, even if the ones on the pulpit are green. Those little details don't really matter, is my point. And Jesus is saying something like that. This doesn't really matter. Just pay it and let's get on with life. But Peter realizes, I think, that honoring the tradition and paying the tax is important. To keep you out of trouble, but also just to sort of get along and play along, and let's not make waves over something so off base and peripheral. Let's not make waves about that. Let's focus on what's really important. Let's do that today. How about that? And we'll see you in the morning.